following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everyone, I'm Christine, your host, and this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'll tell you what's bullshit is technical and audio difficulties. We might have some trouble today. If you lose us, hang tight and we'll pop back in hopefully. So I'm having a good time here by myself. Hopefully my co-host will be able to pop in. I'm texting my guy that he's waiting to get in. We'll see if it happens. So today we're talking about romance scamming and online dating scamming. It seems to be very prevalent. So yeah, today is one of those days. This is fun all by myself. No, it's not fun at all. Okay, so hopefully you've all seen the Tinder Swindler. That was a really good documentary. It is on Tinder and it talks about the Tinder swindling. And it was a bunch of women who were online dating scammed. And they were scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And people are scammed every day online, and especially with romance scamming. Now, I know that men are scammed, women are scammed, everybody is scammed. And sometimes it's easy to fall prey to that. And it's not always easy to tell who's who. So I hope that today you'll learn something and I'll be able to get in there, get into your minds and help you realize, what is a romance scam and who's not real. I do not have my co-host Gabby today. Her family has come out to see her and she is unable to be here with me today. Shawn Dodd is coming in to be my co-host and also to talk about his online scamming. I'm going to ask my producer to re-email him. Jason, if you could re-email him again, because he's having trouble getting in. I'm telling him he's resending it. So this is a fun show. Not. I've actually had a lot of experience with online dating scamming. It has been prevalent in any type of online dating that I've been part of. I tell people all the time that just assume that 80% of the people you're talking to are not real. In a couple of weeks, actually on April 4th, I'm going to have Kathy and Brian come on. They are romance scam advocacies. They are out there fighting to get some laws made to help prevent online dating scamming and romance scamming. People are using other people's pictures constantly. And if you're on Facebook or Instagram or any of those social media, you know that online scamming can happen literally through anything. So today we're going to actually talk about online dating scamming. And I'm going to admit something that I've never admitted before because I was always too embarrassed to say. I really hope that, Jason, if you could resend that to him again. Jason, can you text me in the private chat what your email address is so I can send it to Shawn so he can look for that because he's not getting it. So this is what happens when you go live. Exciting stuff. So hold on one second, folks. I am going to send this email to my guy today, who is supposed to be in here making this a better show. And hopefully he can get in.
Christine, are there other ways of doing scamming besides just financial, like in terms of like material?
Yeah, people used to ask for money to be sent to them through like what's that thing that you go into the store, Jason, and you can send money by like, I want to say Telegram, but it's like, oh damn, what is that called? It's where you can wire money to people. That used to be the big thing. Nowadays, they're asking for Amazon cards and Apple gift cards, and they can turn that into money and they can buy products with it. I was watching TV the other day, and I was flipping through, and Dr. Phil came on, and I'm not a, Dr. Phil is Dr. Phil, whatever. But I stopped because there was this woman who was clearly in her late 60s, early 70s, who had been currently being romance scammed. And damn, Shawn's not getting your emails, Jason. This is frustrating. I'm sorry, folks. This is a very exciting show. Anyway, Dr. Phil had this guest on, this woman who her sister and her daughter were on, trying to get Dr. Phil to help her understand that she was being scammed. And she just would not believe it. No matter how much money she sent this guy, she would not believe that he was scamming her, that he was a real guy, that she, even though she had never seen him, never met him, believed that he was real and had sent him well over $800,000. And her family was freaking out because, that was all of her money, but also because she was going to sell her house and send him that money. And I didn't finish watching it because I had to go and do something, but I wish that I'd seen, what that actual scam was. And what's funny is that as I was getting ready to come on the show today, I got this random message on WhatsApp, and it was someone saying, "Hey, beautiful." And I was like, "Who is this?" And he says, "I'm Scott." And he sends me this picture of this normal, average looking white guy. But little does he realize that in the back end of his WhatsApp account, you could actually see his real picture and his real name. And he's not white, and he's not Scott. And that happens all the time. But people don't stop to investigate and take a look at it and make sure, who they're talking to. So years ago, I'd say about 8 years ago, I did here, hold on. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to tell my guy to email Jason so that we can get him on here so you don't have to listen to just me talking. Please send Jason an email. Okay, Jason, he just sent you an email. So hopefully we can get him on here soon. Anyway, about 8 years ago, I had just come out of a long-term relationship, and I had been married for years. And I really was not, versed at online dating. And I was talking to somebody who was very handsome, talked about how he had a daughter and that he traveled for work and blah, blah, blah. And nowadays, this sounds, this sounds normal when it comes to scamming. But I had no idea. Hi, Shawn.
Hi.
Thank God you're here. I'm just babbling by myself, and it was horrible.
Well, I just got the email. I'm working on it.
I don't know we've had some real technical difficulties lately, and we were just saying that if something happens, Jason said that his internet is going out today. Our producer, if his internet goes out, just to hang tight, and we might have to pop out and pop back in.
We'll get it done. How are you?
I'm here.
All right. Let's do this. Let's have a great show. This will be amazing. Let's help some people.
I was talking about how, a lot of people are embarrassed to admit that they have been internet or scammed romantically. And I was just admitting something for the first time ever. I was saying that about 8 years ago, I just came out of a long-term relationship and I had started online dating again. And again, meaning 2 years ago prior, I had online dated, met that person, dated them for 2 years, broke up, and went back online. And I was talking to this gentleman who had great pictures, great voice, everything was great. He was traveling for work and he gave me some song and dance that he needed money because his wallet was stolen and he couldn't get to, money out. And
that's how it works.
And I was like, this is bullshit. So I was like, no, you're a liar. You're a liar. And he's like, tell me anything you want me to take a picture of and I'll do it to prove it. So I said, okay, hold up a piece of paper that says X, Y, and Z, whatever. And
it doesn't work anymore either.
He took a picture and was holding it up. And I was like, holy shit, it's real. I thought he was real because I never knew that you could doctor stuff up. And now I know you can doctor shit up now, but I didn't know you could doctor things up quite like that. So I sent him money and it wasn't a lot. I could afford it. And I sent it and it was obviously a scam. It was stupid. But you know what? I thought, okay, hold on. This is how I'm going to justify it to myself. And this is how I'm going to learn from it. She, whoever it turned out to be, very well may really have needed that money.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. They needed it more than you.
Yeah. And I could afford it. And it wasn't very much. It was only a couple $100. And I sent it. And you know what? I just chalked it up as a donation.
Sure.
And then I never did it again.
Right. That's the unfortunate part is there's people out there who are legitimate that don't have the ability. But with what I'm hearing, and I did a lot of research on this recently, not too long ago, because of all the things that were happening.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty well known on TikTok with certain things. And what's happened recently is there's new software out that scammers are using. When I go live on TikTok, they're able to download this live, put it into a computer system, and then they can talk to people on FaceTime as me.
Yeah.
That looks like me. It sounds like me. It's completely I wouldn't even know it wasn't me talking to me. That's how good this software has become. So it's really interesting how depths people will take in order to scam others out of their money.
Well, I don't understand why that software is even available. I mean, quite frankly, I don't understand what the whole point is to have that type of software anyway. It's dangerous.
Well, and it started with people, the software actually started with people wanting to look like superheroes. So they could put their faces onto these superheroes of the Marvel movies and DC movies. And that's how some of these kids, these teenagers really came up with this type of software to begin with. And then it morphed into that. And so then a popular apps came out, like one called Reface. So you could literally put your face and superimpose it on all these different people from movies and such. And so it's become so technical now that they can now use it to be that person, virtually. It's pretty incredible.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Shawn Dodd is a TikTok personality. Is that how you would say it?
Sure. Yeah, we can call it that.
Okay. All right. And he joined me a week ago to co-host the show when Gabby was unable to be here. And Gabby's unable to be here again today, but Shawn was already going to be our guest today.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about romance scamming. And so tell us, Shawn, about your story.
I've had a whole bunch of them. So I was in the military, if you couldn't guess, for 7 years. And the first one was when the chat rooms were all out. And so I'm chatting away. And what I ended up finding out is after a month of chatting with this what I thought was a woman, was actually a man who wanted to understand how to talk to women. He didn't know how to do it. So he figured if he talked to other men posing as women, he could see what they would do.
I'd never heard of that.
That's completely unique. It was completely unique to me. So that was the first time I was ever scammed. Never gave them any money. The second time I was in the military, and they have terms called Jody, and the military calls them Jodies. And what Jody does is they go out and they look for guys who are going to be deployed, and they romance them, they love on them, they give them, offer them the world, and then what they do is they try to get these military members to sign over their stuff to them, because when you leave to go overseas, you have to sign over your stuff to someone, a family member, something. Everything has to be signed over as if you're not coming back. And so, and so they look for this, and there's a few things they look for. Some Jodies are in it just for the health care and the benefits the military offers. Some are in it for those guys who go overseas so they can get them to sign over everything. And, things of that nature will come along. So I actually had one. She was in the Air Force, and she was just leaving the Air Force as a JAG officer. So I thought, oh, she knows military. She's legit. And she just poured love on me while I was getting ready to go into Iraq. She asked me actually to marry her. She bought me a ring. It was a cheap ring, but bought me a ring and everything. Yeah. So I'm thinking, gosh, I've only been knowing this gal for 4 months. But it was one of those things where at the time it felt better to sign things over to her than people in my family that were a little bit off color. And so I did. And what ended up happening is when you're overseas, especially in countries like that, I lost everything. She took all my money, all my property. She got everything re-signed in over her because she had the power of attorney. I came back from Iraq, $80,000 in debt because she was able to take out loans in my name, and I lost my entire pay. So I came back with no pay, no house to live in, and so it was so bad that they don't tell you when you're coming home. They just kind of say, get on a plane and you're gone, for obvious reasons. It was so bad when I got home, I had nowhere else to live. The military wouldn't help me out because they already said I had a house. It was technically hers, and at that point re-signed over. And so I had no money in the bank, so I couldn't go get anything. And I was going to have to live on the street. So I had to call her and beg her to let me come stay in my house on my couch. And she luckily did it. And it took me a week and a half before I finally got paid, because I got everything moved back over in myself. And but there's nothing I could do. Legally, there was nothing I could do. No, I had to work with the creditors, and some of them were able to forgive some of that old debt. But boy, because I was overseas, I was able to prove that. It was a complete scam, and she basically scammed me out of $160,000 when you total it up after a year.
So there's no recourse, like for legal action, that you could get your house back, that to show that she took it while you were gone?
Nope, nothing I could do, because the power of attorney acts as me. So at that point, all I could do is once I get there, I can then re-sign in and sign everything back over to myself and kill her power of attorney, which I did. But for anything she did prior to that was all legal.
So was she who she really said she was, or was she just somebody who lied about who she was?
She was who she said she was, which was, the only good thing out of it. But, it wasn't the only one she was scamming at the time. There was multiple men that she was scamming at the time. So it was unfortunate.
What part of the armed forces was she in?
She was in the Air Force when she left.
And there was no recourse that could even be done through the Air Force for her?
Well, she left the Air Force. So she was leaving when this started. So she knew what to do because she was in the Air Force in the JAG, the illegal system. So she knew that. And that's what got me.
That blows my mind.
And there's other, since then I've been very good about catching them. And there's others that I could go into, many, many friends that had issues, and it's a constant battle out there. And it's unfortunate that people have to really keep their guard up and can't trust anybody.
So that seems strange that when you sign your power of attorney over to somebody, that they can do anything while you're in the service. I mean, it should be, I don't know, there should be something I'm really interested in this story, and maybe I might have you come back and even talk to Kathy and Brian in April, because Kathy and Brian are with the romance scam advocacy, and they're trying to get laws passed. And I wonder if there's something that can be done to help these people who are in the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines or whatever, who are ripped off in this way.
And it's constant. It's every little thing you can think of. One of my soldiers was in Korea, and he was dating a gal. She was Russian, and she got him to marry. He married her over there, and he gave her $5,000 to go home to Russia to see her family. And then she was going to bring them back to where they were getting to America with that money. And she just went home, and he never saw her or heard from her again. So she had the ring he paid for, which is a couple thousand. Then she had the plane ticket and all the money he gave her to bring them over, and he never heard from her again. So it's just constant stuff like that.
Wow. That fascinates me, because then does he have to divorce her here?
Yeah, he had to.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh my God.
It was a complete, it was a, it just stuff like that happens all the time. And I think as a human beings, we want to be loved. We crave love and affection and attention. And when we get it and it seems so amazing, we want to embrace it, not run away from it. And then this stuff happens. So it makes it tough.
Well, I'd always heard about women being scammed and women being taken advantage of who are fresh out of a divorce, a marriage, or they were, oh gosh, I'm having one of those days where I just can't compute.
I got you. That's what I'm here for.
Where they're widows.
Mm-hmm.
And widows are left with money, or possibly, and these men are going after them, and
Yes, they are.
Women. Anybody can be a catfish or a scammer, and these women are being taken advantage of because they just are so desperate to be loved. They don't understand that there's these real scammers out there, and then once it happens, they don't want to believe that they've been scammed.
And, I get messages probably every other day at this point, if not daily sometimes, from women who are upset with me because they said, why aren't you talking to me more? What happened? And, these are from Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I get them there too. And I come to find out it wasn't even me. They were just being catfished with someone pretending they're me. And the common story is they're in the military or somewhere else where they can't be seen or talk as much, and they have kids that are dependent on them, and there's always a story where they need money. Some scammers have even gone as far as going into the airport, picking up the phone, FaceTiming them or WhatsApp messaging them, videoing them in the airport. So they seem like it's real. Well, they're really just sitting at a ticketing area with their phone. And so who wouldn't think that's real if they're like, oh, I'm sorry, they delayed my plane. They canceled my flight. I have to go in this other one now. And in order to do that, it's going to cost me $800. Do you want to see me or not? And then that's how that works.
So I have something funny that happened. I get a lot of WhatsApp, people coming at me. Like I was just telling our viewers that literally right before I went on the show today, my phone buzzed and it was a WhatsApp, message. And it was this dude saying, "Hi, beautiful. I'm Scott." And he sent me this average looking white guy picture. And in the back, when you go to look, you can actually see a real photo of the African descent gentleman with his, African name. And the only reason why I say African, because it's very clearly Nigerian or South Africa.
A lot of scammers come from the continent of Africa for sure.
Yeah. I actually have had several conversations with people who have tried to scam me, and I'm not stupid. Maybe I've been stupid once or twice in my life, but
we all have.
Right. So I would say, hey, I know you're not who you say you are. Stop bugging me. I don't want to, I'm going to block you. And they say, no. I've really fallen for you. I'll tell you the truth, and have given me their real names, taken photos of their driver's license, and sent me pictures of themselves. And they are Nigerian. And I said, well, why are you telling me now? Because you're so pretty and I want to get to know you more, and I want to get to, talk to you. And I said, you just tried to scam me. You just lied to me. And they're like, yeah, I know, but there's just a bad economy here. We don't really have jobs. I said, how do you do this? I want to hear. I want to know. Tell me about this. And they say, well, it's a full-time job. We go into internet cafes. We use different computers and logons, and we steal pictures online and videos, and we just it's a numbers game. And I'm like, that just blows my mind. So I am used to, okay, Cupid, Plenty of Fish, Tinder, all those, doing scams. But I'm new to TikTok.
Mhm.
And I get a lot of messages on TikTok from random things. This is the funniest one. This one's from Brad Pitt.
Oh, I love Brad Pitt.
I'm like,
I wish Brad Pitt would message me.
no shit, right? All my life, all my adult life, I've said Brad Pitt's my secret husband. Just nobody's allowed to know. It's just between him and I. It's
Fair
a secret,
enough, yes. I
So,
have mine too.
right? So I get this
My
message.
girl.
Hello, beautiful, from Brad Pitt. I'm like, right.
Okay.
How stupid do you have to be to believe? He is literally saying, I know you're feeling skeptical due to the number of random fake accounts on all social media using my pictures. I use this account to reach out to some of my fans because my main account is managed by my personal manager. He's going, I'm originally from Shawnee, Oklahoma, United States.
United States.
How long have you been my fan? And then I was like, he says, have you seen my shows? And I was like, I ignored him all this time until then. I was like, your shows? What are you talking about, your shows?
Yeah.
He said, oh, okay. If you've not been to any of my shows, I will like to know more about you. Tell me about you. You mean you haven't been to any of my show? I mean, any of my interview, beautiful? It's like, come the fuck on.
And
How does that work?
It's so funny. I did this corporate training for a company the other day that I'm consulting with, and they have to go through their phishing stuff, and I'm doing it, and that's the number one thing is spelling or punctuation errors. You can tell immediately through, that it's an issue because of language. So pretty interesting.
Here, I'd love to talk about.
You went mute.
Sorry, I touched
I'll be running the show if you keep that button on.
I know. I have
Giddy
to
up.
if I get jerked off in here because it's raining, I lose internet. You're gonna have to run the show yourself.
I'll just tell the producer, call me. We'll make it work.
Yeah. That's what Jason was like asking me questions before
Jason.
you got on, because I was like, what the hell? I'd like to talk about some of these things that keep an eye on. Really attractive men in pictures, going after women that I don't know how to say this without sounding rude. But average women, maybe really overweight, heavy set, or just, let's use our logic here. A really hot Brad Pitt is not going to reach out to me.
Well, it goes both ways. There's people who stay at home and they are who they are, and there's nothing wrong with them.
Nothing.
They're homebodies. They just have their own way of doing things, and they believe that this can happen, that they can find love. And let's be honest. I mean, I'm literally in a relationship right now where I met the woman over the internet. Now, there's a story behind that where she had to jump through a lot of hoops to prove to me that she wasn't a catfish, and it took a while. It's a really hilarious story when we break it down. We'll get to that another time. But these poor men and women, they're just wanting this, and they think that people really expect, and I hate to say it like this, but people really expect that they're deserving of a great looking man or woman, and there's nothing wrong with expecting that. However, because they expect that, now their guard is always down for those types of people to say, of course I deserve this, and that's their feeling. So that's why they're able to get this. So you have to have a little bit of skepticism no matter what until you can go through those hoops.
So one of the very, very, very first things, aside from an extremely hot photo, is the word dear. If
Yep.
someone is calling you dear, be aware. That is a
Beautiful.
big word. Beautiful. Those are big words. Also, if you say, hey, my name's Christine, what's yours? They say, am Jason, am
Mhm.
Christine, am Shawn,
Right.
am. That is not how we speak proper English. That is not how we're raised growing up to write I am or my name is. You don't say am Shawn.
My favorite too, what you hear is a lot of women say that these catfish guys are posing as military. And there's
Yes.
ways to kind of look through that too. It's if they have an accent, 99
Yes.
times out of 100, American military members do not. I know some do,
Yeah.
in fairness, but especially if they're British or, it's very rare. And it does happen, but it is very, very rare. The chances and likelihood of that maybe 1%. So if you have
Right.
this guy with a weird Nigerian British type accent, or South African is actually has a lot of unique accents.
Yes.
It's just, if it's not English, American English, and you're in America, then you should probably pay attention to that.
Well, a year ago, I was getting messages from this guy who said he was in the I think it was Army or Air Force, something like that. And he was messaging me. And I'm always skeptical of the ones in the military. Always.
Should be.
And while he was messaging me, someone else messaged me with the same pictures and a different name. And
That's
then
nice.
while those two were messaging
Brilliant.
me, a third one messaged me the same pictures, different name. So I'm talking to all three of them on purpose. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, why would you not have fun with that?
I was having so much fun with it, and they were getting so angry at me that I would play with their hearts and that I would be believing them. And it just was, crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Jason's sending us crazy messages. Hi, my name is Prince Kimbabo.
It's actually, yes, I need to get me my prince and princess. I'm ready for them.
Yeah, right.
That's how this works.
So did you watch Tinder Swindler?
No, I heard about it, enough about it to just.
You should watch it. It's pretty damn good. It's
should
good.
I? Okay.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I got time on my hands.
He was brilliant, because not that I think he's very anything. I think he's a horrible human being, quite frankly. But he was not, even though he faked his name and his background and what he was doing, he was incredible on being able to have women trust him and pay for things to support the next con and the next con and the next con. And it's just incredible the amount of money that he swindled out of these amazingly beautiful, smart women, who just trusted a handsome guy, and so that's kind of scary. But I tell people all the time, don't trust someone until you meet them in person. Period.
Yeah, that's exactly how it has to be. And with the way technology is working, is I can talk to anybody in the world at any time, and it's really easy. And so that just makes it so difficult for some people. That's how it works.
Yeah. I saw recently that this girl, actually on TikTok, she was telling her story, and I was trying to get a hold of her to reach out to me, but sometimes it's hard. People get so many messages. She probably didn't see my messages, but what had happened is she had met somebody, and he had, convinced her to come see him, and he paid for her ticket. And then when she flew out there, he was nowhere in sight. She had nowhere to go. He was disappeared. And she was in some other state, in some other city, with knowing no one, and didn't know what to do. And then she had to get her own ticket back. And when she got back, she found out that he had stolen her identity, and she just had all this identity theft, and it was crazy. And the links that somebody will go to, the link that someone will go to like scam somebody, is unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. It's Again, it's we're all strong, but when it comes to love makes us look at things differently and we remove a lot of guard because of that. So it's incredible what people will do for what's more powerful than love. I always tell people it can be money, and that's at the root of all evil and good, if you depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. We talk about, this romance scam. And if you guys have never seen Catfish on MTV, you should really watch Catfish on MTV, because it is really enlightening how they find these people, who they actually turn out to be. Most of the time, if someone will make an excuse after they've made a date with you to cancel that date, they're not real. They're just not.
Yep.
Let's get over it and move the fuck on. They're not real. If they always have an excuse to not video chat with you, or if they do video chat, something's wrong and you can't hear them and it's all wonky, and it's like, come on. Everybody has a phone nowadays that works pretty damn good. Also, I think that keep in mind, if they live in another country and they admit to living in another country, be very aware that people want to marry Americans to get here, to get a green card. And if you've not watched 90 Day Fiance, I love that show. That's some real deal there.
Yeah, and there anymore though. I can't remember I had it in my mind before the show, but there's a movie that came out on Netflix where the guy catfishes the girl. She comes out to surprise him for Christmas, and then
and he's this young guy.
And he's young. Yeah. He's not who he is, and she's completely different. And then they end up falling in love. So really, people still have people have this belief that it'll all work out, and it's mostly won't. So
most of the time it will not.
Yeah.
And these people could literally be anyone. The catfishing that a lot of people do will take Facebook and use a lot of things from Facebook. They'll create a separate account with someone's pictures, and if they have a low friend account, or they're all women, or they're all men, that's just they're not the real person. They're just not.
I think we all get lonely, and the one thing I can say about us as people is you gotta really love yourself to see past this, because sometimes a lot of people don't have that self-love that they deserve.
True.
And that they're looking for someone else to fill that. And then here comes these people who catfish. Yeah. And I've talked to plenty of women who said afterwards, like, can I still talk to you? I actually miss that person.
Oh.
And it's almost like a breakup for them when they find out they miss that person. They want to talk to someone, and they miss that feeling of connection. And so that's what some of these people bring, is that just that lost feeling, and they miss it.
Yeah. I will say that there was somebody in the very beginning when I first started online dating that said he lived here in LA. We spent a lot of time talking. We even talked a lot on the phone, and he wound up being catfishing me. And I have to say, it was really hard on my heart. I wasn't in love with him because I didn't know him, but I liked him and I enjoyed our conversations. And when that was gone, it is a loss. It really is.
Yeah. We can compare it to dating someone. You can date them 2 or 3 times, really like them, and then they just say they don't feel it, and you're just sitting there going, "Oh man, I had all this expectation and hope." So it's similar. It's similar.
It is. Online dating is hard enough, and then you've got things like scamming. And I've actually matched with people, connected with them, gone to meet them for a date, and they are not the person in the picture. They're 100% different. And I stop and look at them, and I'm like, hold on. And I'll look at my phone and I'll go, what just happened here? And they're like, oh, yeah, those are old pictures. I said, no, they're not old pictures. They're somebody else's pictures. What are you doing? Well, I thought after, us connecting and, we really had this rapport and that you would meet me and you would be okay with it. And I'm like, I'm not okay with it. It's a lie. It starts out as a lie. You're not who you presented yourself to be. And, that's wrong.
The first thing I would get asked, I had it so many times by women, "Are you real? Are you actually real?" I'm like, "Why?" I mean, because so people, what women have told me on dates is literally they stay away from like the really who they feel is have really nice pictures or really good looking guys because they feel they're not real. They're just catfish. They almost
Right.
automatically assume it.
Right. Well, I've dated a few hotties in my time, and they were real. Th- whatever. It's hard. It's hard to find love these days. It's hard to, you know, protect yourself when you're following with your heart and not your head.
Mhm.
You need to lead with your head. Um, Never get too attached to somebody before you meet them, is what I would suggest. I would also suggest not spending a lot of time texting and calling before you meet somebody. I would suggest meeting them very quickly.
Yeah, you can meet for a walk in a park if for free, or a cup of coffee doesn't cost much, and
Yep.
it's just a quick, hey, let's meet, let's just see if we have connection, and if we do, then let's go on a date.
Yeah.
And that was something I like to do a lot. So
Yeah. I actually was supposed to have a date recently, and he sent me a message the day before and said, or the day of the date actually, and said, "Hey, something came up financially that I wasn't expecting, and I was wondering if you could be my sugar mama."
all right.
Like, no, let me think about
Yeah,
that. No, let me
yeah.
no.
No. That's
No.
funny. Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet. On the other end, luckily. I mean, the only one that call me daddy are the guys in TikTok. So it's like, like, it is so weird for me.
What have you found through TikTok that's a struggle or different? Or I was checking our time.
Everybody, you could be whoever you want, personality wise. So the thing is,
Mhm.
there's so many different accounts out there that aren't being, they're just not doing videos, or they're only posting videos from other people. So there's
Mhm.
no way to know who they really are.
Yeah.
And for me right now, I counted them today before the show because I was really curious. 48. There's 48 accounts that are acting like me. Different names. They're changing their name by one letter, one word.
48.
48, and some of them have, I don't know how they did it, but they've got my other pictures and that I put out there somewhere else and before, and
Facebook,
whether it
maybe?
be Facebook, or I had my Instagram open for the longest time, and so there's just different names, and they're using my name. Some are using different names, and but though they're
48.
I get constant messages like, this is you, and they're acting like it's my backup account, so people think it's me, and it's really pretty crazy.
How did you find those 48? Did you do a
Well,
search with your photo or something?
yeah, I've done search with the photo, but the first ones were easy because what they'll do is they'll on my own post, in the comments, with this fake account that looks just like me, and it's one letter off or one number off, so people know. It says, "Hey, I really like your comment. You should WhatsApp me and let's talk." And they'll just start that, and you'll see these comments all over. So I see them in my comment feed. So I have to
Talking to
go.
other people to get them
Right,
to come.
to message, and so I have to go delete them all, or because if I block them, the message still stays. So if I don't delete the message, it stays on there, and then these poor women can get scammed. So I spent hours one night, just deleting messages and blocking. So once they're all deleted, then I block the account so they can't see me. But then they have another one up so fast doing the
Yeah.
same thing. It's hard to keep up, and every person who has over 100,000 plus viewers, guys that I know, are are getting the same thing, and so it's a constant battle.
I could probably bet that if I went on to a dating site, I could probably find you.
Oh, easy. I get told that too in the comments. So, hey, you're on Christian Mingle here in Nebraska. I'm like, oh, cool. That's nice to know.
How's that
Didn't know
going?
that.
How's that going
Yeah.
for me?
You know, and
Have
that's
I
the
found my
thing.
match?
That's what I love. I mean, you got to have a really strong partner who understands that that stuff happens because
Otherwise,
people.
they could think you're cheating.
Well, right, and another one that was horrible is I was lucky next to her, and she got the text. So she got a text message, "Hi, are you going to get back together with me?" And then she's like, "Who's this?" And then it was a girl who sent a picture, and she looked like a normal, plain Jane, pretty girl, young girl. And then it says afterwards, you know, and it waited. Then she says, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, and you know, my name is, you know, Dawn." And she texts back another picture, a sexy picture. It's like, "Are you sure? Because I think you're playing with." And so if it was me who got that text, I would have been like, "Who the hell is that?" So it was just, but no way you would have known. No way.
No. Our producer Jason just sent us a message that said, "Boy, am I glad that I'm ugly and unpopular."
I love you, Jason.
You know,
That's awesome.
I have to say that the scammers are getting wise and they are really up in their game. And they're even just picking average guys. They're picking average women. I hear there's a lot of bots for the guy side. They're on dating apps. There are a lot of bots. Like women will come on and say, "Oh, come follow my this or that," and then they're, you know, charged by the minute stuff, and they're like, "What the heck?"
There's a timer with these bots too. So I'll say something because I would see these bots while I was in the dating apps, and I would say, "Hey, how are you?" or whatever, and then there was something back that was really nice. Tell me about this. So I give them the whole spiel, and they say, "Oh, that's really nice." And so you would never know until you're about 5 to 10 messages in, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, that doesn't correlate with what I just said," and then it's like, "Oh, it's a bot."
Yeah.
And so I just wasted 15 minutes of my life.
I hate that.
And it's not an immediate response. It takes a while. They have a timer, so it makes you think that they're actually responding, and they're just taking their time.
They are.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. I wish I had more advice for people, except for stay diligent in leading with your head and not your heart. Don't get attached too soon. Really stop and confirm that they are willing to meet you first. You know what I mean? It's like, just really take your time before you start spending too much time talking to somebody, because once you get involved and you start talking on the phone, you start texting, then what happens is you get too emotionally attached. And once that happens, it's harder to let that go. It's harder to believe they're not true. It's harder to not send them money or send them gift cards or Amazon gift cards or they're asking for Apple cards now. These things are really important to stay on top of. Don't trust anybody until you meet them, and then still don't trust them until you've, you know, had a lot of time together, and then, you know, take your time.
Yeah, and trust is earned, right?
Trust is earned.
Trust, and it should be that way.
It definitely should. Well, we ran out of time.
I love talking to you. We could talk all day.
I love talking to you too. Sorry there was so much difficulty in the start. I was rambling like a fucking crazy person, and
Jason, you got my email now. We'll never have a problem again.
Oh my gosh. Well, at least we didn't get booted off. That was a plus.
Yes.
Thank you for bearing, you know, your personal private journey about being scammed. That is crazy, and my heart goes out to you. But I hope that it reaches somebody who really could hear it and really needed to know that everybody has this possibility, and just be diligent.
Yeah, and my life is based around helping others. So if I made a mistake and it can help others not make that same mistake, I'm all about it.
Me too. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. We hope you come back again next week, same time, same place, and until then, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.